We're joined by Candaele, who's the interim manager as Steve Buechele is on vacation. And I don't know when it started dawning on you on Wednesday night, but boy, you almost got 2 games in your first game on Wednesday.
Yeah, that was that's how baseball works. You come in, I'm going to fill in for 4 games and give Boo a rest, a nice, well needed vacation. And then the first game is 16 innings, so you're like, oh my goodness, what have I done here? But no, it was great. It was a good battle. We did a good job coming back from an early deficit, and unfortunately we couldn't pull it out. But that was a long one, and it was kind of interesting to have a couple of nice pitching performances, decent pitching performances from position players, which was not what I was expecting the first day.
After that ball game, it almost didn't feel like a loss simply because of the performances that Zaneski and Chang gave you, and also just that comeback to be able to even force extra innings. It didn't feel like a normal loss would.
Right. I mean, it was you're never happy for after losing, but the guys battle well late in the game, and that's a really good indication. That guys are still going in there and putting their at bats up and not giving up. So on a team level, that's good to see, because they're not just mailing it in after getting down early. So that's a big positive.
You're also the Rangers infield coordinator. You've seen the team a few times this season. What have you noticed in terms of any improvement, and improvement still to come for Hanser, Alberto, and Odubel, Herrera, 2 of the youngest guys in the league that have taken their lumps and have gotten maybe a little bit better as the season's gone on?
Yeah, it's just basically, though, for those 2, it's maintaining focus throughout an entire season and on every pitch. I mean, I know that for young players to make sure that they're involved in the game every pitch, and every pitch that happens is the most important part for their development. And I think they've been doing a pretty good job. You had to get on them a little bit sometimes to make sure they're still maintaining that focus. But watching them in these first 2 games, they've done a good job. And I think also, a big part of it is understanding situations in games. Maybe when a team might want to run, when's a good time to pick off at second. Those kind of things that I'm sure Boo talks to them about it all the time, and I talk to him when I'm in town. And the mental part of the game is for young players some of the toughest to grasp. So you try and work on that, and I think that's one of the major things in their development. Talent-wise, they have the talent to be successful. It's just molding that talent into both mental and physical success.
The story of your career is probably one that every minor league player should look at. I mean, that's why it's so great that you're a part of the Rangers organization. You're a guy who never was handed anything. You weren't drafted. You weren't the biggest guy. Weren't the fastest guy. You fought every single year to make a team at a spring training, and you spent 9 years in the big leagues. Is that something that you can relay on to these guys? I know a lot of them probably didn't see you play, but at least that story that you can give them of your career?
Well, I mean, I don't know that they really want to hear my story. They want to know if I can help them. so I'm proud of how I played the game and what I did in the game. I try and express those things without talking about myself about that, but I just think for any player that if you went out every day and you worked as hard as you could and you played the game as hard as you could and ran every ball out and played every game as it may be your last, that the guys with talent, it wouldn't be a question whether they made it to the big leagues or not. If guys that I played against and played with had played, not to toot my own horn, but had played the way I did, I would have never got a chance to play in the big leagues. So I try and relay that message to young players, and any of them that would take it and go into the games like that and play that way, the success that they would see would be so much better and make the game so much easier for them, because you would never have to worry about whether you were given a full effort. That's just a big part of my feeling, mentally, as to how to approach the game. So I try and relay that to them.
Would you say that your best tool as a player came not from maybe your physical abilities, but just from your desire, your head, and your heart?
Oh, absolutely. Well, one of the main things was I told myself I am going to try and learn everything about this game and learn the right things to do and the correct things to do and situations and what you're trying to do in certain situations of the game. So basically, try to become a student of the game and then go out and put that into practice and not let anybody play harder than me. And that was just my feeling. And I know that if I didn't approach it that way, and I knew that if I didn't approach it that way, I wasn't going to be around long.
And part of learning everything that you could was probably learning almost every single position. You played so many of them over the course of your career.
Yeah, that was, I hate talking about myself, but it was just a part of what I looked to do. I wanted to know what everybody did on the field in every situation, and on all bunt plays, on all pickoffs, on all first and third. So if I were ever thrust into a position to play there, I knew what I was doing before the manager asked me to play there. So my deal was I was trying to get into a lineup just to play, and so I tried to learn all the positions, and if anything ever happened and he said, "Can you play there?" I may not have played there before, but I would say, yes, I can play there. So at least I knew what I was supposed to do. I don't know if I could play the position well, but I knew what I was supposed to do.
We're here with Casey Candaele, who's filling in for Steve Buechele as the RoughRiders manager. We're down here in Astros country, playing an Astros affiliate. You played for the Astros, and the man you were actually traded for, Mark Bailey, is the developmental specialist for the Astros. Have you been able to catch up with him at all?
I haven't seen him. I didn't know if he was here. I've been looking.
He's supposed to be managing tomorrow because Bodie's not going to be here tomorrow.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'll see him. Yeah, that's interesting. I was seeing that. I knew Beetle, which is what they call him, Mark Bailey, but. Yeah, we were traded for each other, so that'll be good to catch up. Our discussion at home plate may take a long time. So,
I'm sure you have a lot of fond memories of being with the Astros. That's where some of your best success had as a big leaguer. One thing I want to ask you about is something I read, that you took batting practice without any clothes on for a period of time. Explain to our listeners how that came about and how that continued.
Oh no! Well, actually, it was like one of the games the first game we had here. It was a 16-inning game, and we had a day game the next day, and everybody came in, and I was kind of getting undressed to get my stuff on, and the hitting coach came in and said, "Hey, anybody want to take some BP?" And I was like, and I was just sitting there with nothing on, and I said, and he walked away, and so I said, I'll go take some batting practice. And I was struggling a little bit at the time, and so I just put my cleats on, a pair of socks and my cleats on, and nothing else, and my batting gloves, and then just went in and started hitting. So that was on a Sunday day game, and I got a couple of hits, so I started naked Sunday batting practice every Sunday for a while. So that's how it came about. So
did it ever become normal, or was it always abnormal for the guy who was throwing to you?
Yeah, the guy throwing was not. He didn't like it much. Actually, the funny thing was we now have George Orta, who's one part of the staff in Arizona, and he was mentioning to me the other day when I was in Arizona that, I remember when I came in to throw. He was a base running guy, and he came in and he goes, and I was throwing BP, and you walked in there on a Sunday with no clothes on. I didn't know what to do. So he remembers it too. So, I don't know if it was good or bad, but it happened, so it's true.
Finally, Casey, one of the things that I was reading up on you and your career, actually, your mother was a professional baseball player, and her league that she played in was the one depicted in a league of their own. Your mother's not with us anymore, but how much of an influence did she have on you coming up as a player? It's not often that you have a professional ball player in the family, and it's your mother.
Yeah, and it was my mother, and she was better than me. So, so when anybody told me I played like a girl, I would say, that's fine. My mom was really good. But yeah, she played in the league. My brother actually did a documentary. Kelly did a documentary with a friend of his about the league, and then they adapted it into the movie A League of Their Own. But yeah, she was a big influence. A lot of her influence was the mental part of the game and handling the failure that is a part of baseball, and overcoming that and battling on to the next day. And she used to go out and hit me ground balls and throw batting practice, and I was a kid, and I was like, well, everybody's mom must be doing this. I didn't realize, at the time that it was very unique, and what a special thing it was that she was a part of that league, and she had a background in the game that I loved to play. So yeah, it was pretty special. I miss her and think about her a lot, but I thank her for all that she taught me about the game and how to play it.
And Casey, thanks so much for the time, and hopefully the guys can get you a win here tonight.
Yeah, hopefully, Alex. We need one. We're going to go out and get one. Let's do that.